Good morning. Here we go again in the Motor Valley. So one more time we are broadcasting from the most representative and exciting museums of this land. My name is Lorenzo Curatti. Now we are broadcasting from the Ferrari Museum in Maranello. But before we start to visit the many rooms of this museum, I would like to remind you that you will find this video available in the website motorvalleyfest.it, and for those who follow us from abroad,
Don't forget, you're going to find this video with the English translation in a few days on motorvalleyfest.it. Giulia, ciao.
so here I have Julia. She will be our guide for today. I will start straight away with a question. What do we have here? Welcome everybody. Today we are in the real temple of Ferrari, of F1, and we cannot but start our visit looking at this office. Here we have reconstructed the office of Enzo Ferrari, the one he worked in his factory in Modena, the factory he founded when he left Alfa Romeo at the end of the 30s. Here you can appreciate many memorabilia and objects Enzo Ferrari was always using, like his phone, his eyeglasses. In that part we can see some of the trophies he won at the beginning of his career as a driver, and some scale models of cars he contributed to create and to construct. And I think that aircraft there is a scale model of the plane used by Baracca with the prancing horse on it. Okay, let's move on because I know that we have many things to visit. Here I see 812 Superfast, and at the side of the car we have the body and the chassis. So the basic structure, the skeleton of this model, the 812 Superfast. We are still producing this car, and it is still much appreciated. It represents a flagship product. The body was manufactured by Scaglietti Body Shop. Scaglietti and this body shop is much related to Ferrari because this body shop was founded by Sergio Scaglietti. He was the body shop owner, and he lived in Modena. Mr. Scaglietti has created the most iconic body shop, the most iconic bodies for Testarossa and for the California Ferrari from the 50s. Ferrari has used for the first time the Scaglietti body cars, and they started to do so in the 70s. Let's move on and let's go through Hypercars. Well, this is one of the exhibitions we really care about, and we would like to show it to you. Due to time limitations, we cannot appreciate every room, but we can give you a general idea of what you will be seeing from tomorrow onwards, because tomorrow we will reopen the doors to our visitors. Here you can see these beautiful red spots, these beautiful red cars. They really touch our hearts. This is the first exhibition called Hypercars. Here we collect the 5 models named Hypercars. We have the 288 GTO from the 80s. This car is purely a sports car. So it was thought it was created to race. And then the F40. The F40 is a sort of evolution of the 288 GTO. I know that many Ferrari fans have a poster showing this car on their walls. The F40 was presented in 1987 to celebrate the 40th anniversary since the foundation of Ferrari, and this is the last car Mr. Ferrari presented, because he passed away the year later, so this is even more important if you think about it. The F40 is a road car, even if we can see that it is more of a sports car. Maybe it looks like more of a race car. If you take a look at the rear wing, at the very powerful engine, it is 500 horsepower. It has a very big acceleration from 0 kilometers to 100 kilometers per hour in 4 seconds, and today Ferrari reached 100 kilometers per hour in 3 seconds, so there is not a big difference. This car is more of a race car because it used composite materials and very evolved technology like Kevlar Something that really impresses us is the fact that even if this car is so powerful, it hasn't the power steering. So Ferrari, Enzo Ferrari wanted this car to be essential. He wanted to create this car only for expert drivers so that they would have been able to drive it even without power steering. These cars you see here are all exclusive. Here you can see the F50, which is the heir of the F40. It has been produced and manufactured till 1997 when we celebrated the 50 years since, the 50 anniversary since the foundation. Here we have the same lines and similar parts like the rear wing. They are very similar to the F40, but the engine is really unique and peculiar. In fact, it draws inspiration from the engine of the F90 and then from the single-seater used by Mansell and Prost. The engine is more powerful than the previous ones, and the F50 was equipped with this powerful engine, becoming a real fireball and a real supercar. And let's now access the next our millennium, the second millennium. It is an Enzo Ferrari from 2002. Here you can appreciate the rest of hypercars. The Enzo Ferrari car is a milestone of this collection. It dates back to the most glorious years of Ferrari, those years in which Michael Schumacher was in the best moment of his career. In 2002, Schumacher won the third world title in a row. And Michael Schumacher helped the mechanics develop the Enzo Ferrari car, the one you see here. It is more or less similar to the F40. Some elements recall the single-seater, like the front part. You can see this shape, this pointy, this very sharp shape that recalls us the single-seater. You can see inside the paddle shifters to change gears. In fact, it is a semi-automatic change, and this configuration comes from the F1, and also some other things related to racing, like carbon ceramic rainbow brakes. This is one of the first road cars of Ferrari, including this element, the racing brakes, and the very powerful engine is very telling too. It is a rear V2 engine with 660 horsepower. These hypercars are all limited series. In this case, we have 399 examples, an incomplete number. It is almost 400, but it is a market strategy. Enzo Ferrari had thought about this market strategy because, in his opinion, Ferrari had to understand how many clients would have bought a limited series model, and from that number of potential buyers, Ferrari should remove one. So to increase the curiosity and the willing to buy Ferrari cars, Ferrari limited edition cars. Here we are in the year 2013, and the name of this car is LaFerrari. By this name, we want to identify the utmost of Ferrari. Till 2013, this has been the most performing car, the fastest car, the most powerful one, and also the lightest car because it has been used carbon fiber in most of its components, also in the interior. This is a record-beating car because it made the history of the brand. It is the first hybrid Ferrari. It is equipped with two engines, the V2 800 horsepower. It is also equipped with an electric engine based on high-chaos technology. It recovers the kinetic energy during the braking time, and it adds this energy to the electric energy. So we have 800 horsepower on one hand and 163 horsepower on the other. We have the top speed, which is higher than 300 kilometers per hour, and it goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3 seconds. So this paves the way for the F90, which is a further hybrid car. But we have an additional version of LaFerrari, which is the open LaFerrari. It is an open car. It is very similar to the previous LaFerrari we have seen, but in this case it is an open car, and the main feature is that the roof is removable. It could be either a soft or an hard top, but it is removable anyway. There are some slight differences compared to the closed version of the car. It is a car whose roof can be removed, so if you remove the roof, you have to study different aerodynamic systems and some other elements. But in a nutshell, I would like to say that this car, the open one, is similar to the closed one. And here we can appreciate the electric component of the Hypercars technology. Yeah, you see here that this engine is big. The size is quite big, but it is really beautiful. It is inspiring. This technology comes from the F1, and this kind of technologies have been adopted and implemented in road cars as well. I think that a very characteristic feature of this brand is that every Ferrari is a unique piece. Actually, I had already taken a look at this next room, and I know that here you collect the tailor-made cars. Yes, this is a service we have been providing our clients with for a short time. Already in the 40s, Enzo Ferrari had thought that Ferrari's client should have had the possibility of creating unique pieces, their unique pieces. So Ferrari wanted their clients to customize their cars, choosing the perfect, their favorite body shop to create their cars. And this philosophy is still part of our brand, of our company. In this corner, you can see the main elements that can be customized. Obviously, you cannot modify the basic elements of the car, but the rest of details can be personalized, can be tailor-made. I'm making reference to the finishings, the stitching, the steams of the seats, also the shape of the seat, and the seat belts as well. You can also customize the rims and the brake calipers. But if we talk about the external part, you can also customize the color of the body, of the car body. This is a 488, and you can understand from this model what you can do, to which extent you can customize your car. This 488 is from 2018, and you can see that this model is unique. This is the version, the race version, because it was manufactured and prepared for customers who are also racers, those customers who participate in the mono-brand championships. This is a special version. In fact, you see that in the hood you have the symbol of the laurel to recall the victory, the winning of Ferrari in the year 2017. In fact, Ferrari won the Constructor Championship in the WEC Championship, Endurance category and Pro category. This is a 488 GTE. This car was used by Calado and Serra. They won in 2017 with the F Corse team. And what if tailor-made is not enough for some customers? What if some customers wanted to go beyond, to push beyond this limit? Yes, you're right. In fact, some customers want the one-off. Those cars we call one-off. By one-off, we mean that only one model, only one example has been manufactured. This is a P80 C. It is an extraordinary vehicle, and it draws inspiration from prototype sports cars of the past. For example, the lines, the shape is very similar to the 330 P3 and P4, just to mention some of them. This car was ordered by a very well-known collector in Hong Kong. This Hong Kong collector has worked in synergy with the Ferrari engineers and with the mechanics of the style department led by Flavio Manzoni. This collector wanted the car to be perfectly adjusted to his needs and to his taste. This car is the first model that has been type approved for racetracks. This is a purely sport car. So this is a pure sports car, and I would like our cameraman to film these images. These are the drawings made at the beginning by Flavio Manzoni. This is a sports car, as I was saying. It is a 100% sports car, and it has no light. As you see, lights, front and rear lights, influence the design and the style and the lines of the car. At the beginning, the idea was to make this car fully performant. So to make it lighter, we have removed the front and the front and the rear lights. It is made with carbon fiber. It has many wings and other elements to increase the aerodynamic performance. On one hand, we have a driving configuration which is thought for sports, for races, and also we have a more casual configuration, driving configuration, in which you can remove the rear wing, for example. Just take a look at the back end, at the rear part of this car, and you understand that you shouldn't mess with this fireball. Let's move to the following room. Okay, if you follow the signals in the ground, you easily arrive to the next room. And let's now go through the second exhibition of the Maranello Museum. This room is dedicated to the 24 hours of Le Mans. Actually, this exhibition should have closed in April, but due to the lockdown, our museum decided to extend this exhibition for some more months. Here you see a couple of vehicles that made the history of the 24 hours of Le Mans. This is a legendary race that has been held since 1923. Ferrari started to participate in this race in 1949, and we started out in the best way possible. In fact, right in 1949, the first year we participated in this race, we won the race. And the car who won for the first time in the 24 hours of Le Mans was 166 mm, like this one we have here. The same year, Ferrari did not only win the 24 hours of Le Mans, but also the 1000 miles. So it is a totally winning car. It is a perfect champion car. Luigi Chinetti, who later on became the official importer in the US, and Lord Elston won this race in 1949. This is a legendary race. It is a very hard proof of endurance for both for cars and for racers. Ferrari has always participated in this race. The first winning dates back to 1949 and the last one in 2019. You will see the cars that won in 2019 in the next room. 36 victories, of which 9 absolute victories and 27 class victories. You see here the 275P that won in 1965. This is one of the 4 examples we have of this car, so it is a very rare unit. It is a winning car. that won in 1965. That same year, the podium was fully red because the second place and the third place were gained by the 330p, so a full Ferrari podium, sorry. So in this museum, you can appreciate Ferrari's history thanks to displays and multimedia devices, but also thanks to these vintage posters that help us go through the history of motorsport and Ferrari again. And here we have another wall, a very interesting one. We could take a narrower look. It contains many photos taken in the past, many important dates and information for Ferrari. Well, these data and pictures lead the visitors through the past, the ancient history of Ferrari, the past winnings of this very famous brand. And this is interesting, especially for young visitors. Yes, in a nutshell, this is a timeline of all the winnings of Ferrari. All the winnings of Ferrari in the 24 hours of Le Mans. Ferrari has participated in almost all the sports competitions, the sports events, and it has always tried to do something new. It has always given proof of great technology and great quality in their projects. Correct me if I'm wrong, I knew that many of the cars that are exhibited here in Maranello Museum are part of private collections. So these private collectors lend their cars to the museum. What does it mean? It means that if you come here more than once, if you come for a visit and then you come back maybe a few months later, you have the chance to appreciate new cars that weren't here the previous time. Let's now move to the next room in which I hear a very good noise, a noise I love because it's the noise of races. Yes, this is the permanent exhibition, the only permanent exhibition of the museum. As I told you before, every exhibition is changed every year, so some models are replaced by others, by new models, but as I was saying, this room contains a permanent exhibition. This is a highly emotional room because this year we are going to celebrate the 70th anniversary since F1 was born as a competition category. This anniversary is even more important for us because Ferrari is the only team that has never stopped. We have always participated since 1950 in races, and we are the team with more winnings. 15 Drivers' World Championships and 16 Constructors' World Championships. On this side, you see the photos, the pictures of the 9 world champions who have won more than one title for Ferrari. Let's start from Alberto Ascari. He won a few years after F1 was born, at the beginning of the 50s. And then we have Kimi Raikkonen. If we come to the present day, he's the last world champion for Ferrari. But in the middle, we find Juan Manuel Fangio, we find Dai Kosol, Phil Hill, John Surtees, Niki Lauda, Jadi Scheckter, and Michael Schumacher. Here you can appreciate some helmets of our champions. So we want to talk about safety as well by showing here the helmets. We have handmade scale models of one of the winning cars, and then you also find here some of the trophies of the constructors' trophies won by Ferrari in this range of time. On this side, you have probably seen it before, we have a beautiful amphitheater, and in this amphitheater we exhibit the cars related to our champions. These models wrote the history of Ferrari. Let's mention the 212 T4 from 1979. We have here an unforgettable name on the side, the name of Gilles Villeneuve. Actually, in 1979, it was Jody Scheckter who won the title, but Jody Scheckter was supported by Gilles Villeneuve, and Gilles Villeneuve was almost a son to Enzo Ferrari. Then we have 5 cars in a row. These cars were driven by Schumacher. We start with the F 1999 when Michael Schumacher started to compete with Ferrari. And we arrive to the F 2004, one of the cars with which Schumacher won the world title. Obviously, he has also driven the F1 2000, F1 2001, F1 2002, and then the F 2004 I have already shown you. So these are the cars with which Schumacher has won the 5 world titles. And then we have the last champion car, the F2007, driven by Kimi Raikkonen. Before I told you that we would have seen the 488 GTE. It is right in the middle of the room, and this is the car that won in 2017 the 24 Hours of Le Mans. The drivers were Pier Guidi, Calado, and Serra. This car belongs to the AF Corse team, and the same team last year won the Petit Le Mans. Winning 2 races like these in the same year with the same car and with the same drivers is something unprecedented. It had never happened before, so it is part of our records. When it comes down to victories and winnings, we have to underline a very young driver, David Tonizza. He is part of the Ferrari Academy. He won a new title, the F1 eSport. So F1 is a legendary sport, and Ferrari is now part of electronic sports. There is now a real championship, a real electronic championship. Obviously, it is done with the simulator. Well, Davide Tonizza won last year this championship, and in this museum we have a corner. We are now preparing, obviously respecting all the safety measures, to allow our visitors to play, to drive in this simulator and try to beat the record of David Tonizza. Obviously, it will not be an easy task, but it's a good chance for our visitors to be entertained and to drive this simulator. You can take a look at this new corner we are preparing in our website and in our channels. So, from the 18th of May, the museum will be prepared to welcome the visitors, obviously keeping into account the due safety measures. Yes, exactly. We are going to be here. We are going to open our doors from tomorrow onwards. Tomorrow, May the 18th, is also the International Day of Museums, so this is a special occasion to visit the museum again. You can either book your visit online, or you can also book guided tours. Obviously, these guided tours are reserved for small groups. You know that the museum is accessible only small groups to respect and to keep the social distancing, but anyway, it will be possible to do guided tours again. I will be available together with my colleagues, and we will provide you with the necessary information. You can get those information also in our website. Apart from the tours, we also have further activities like the simulator and so on. But as Julia said, you can find this information on the website, but please remember the website motorvalleyfest.it, in which you find all the videos we have filmed in these 2 days. You will find this very video and yesterday video, the Enzo Ferrari Museum video. This is an initiative this initiative wants to restart the engine not only of Ferrari but also of Motor Valley and Italy. So please visit our website motorvalleyfest.it to take a look at our schedule for these 2 days. Thank you very much. Thank you, Julia.